fast enough to think that we were going to need another elementary school. We didn't think that we were going to need that infrastructure, okay? When Magnolia Green School opens, I would imagine that probably the majority of everyone in Magnolia Green will probably attend that school. But that community is still growing, just like Harper's Mill is still growing. We need to be balanced with how we send children to schools. We need to make sure that we're using the most up-to-date data with the Board of Supervisors, with the Planning Commission, to make sure that we're able to forecast that our schools are balanced. So that, look, a smaller classroom with a less student to teacher ratio is the best thing that we can have. All these other programs that we pull in to try to augment teachers, it doesn't work. Nothing is better than a smaller classroom size. And that should be the goal. So when the new Magnolia Green School does open, careful consideration needs to be taken to alleviate first Winterpock and to take a look at how many projected students we're going to have coming into that, because we need to make sure that when that school does open, okay, that we don't immediately push it to capacity and then drop other schools way below capacity, because then that ends up redistricting again. Redistricting is not something that really should happen every year. It should happen every few years, and it should be very slight to make adjustments. Changing it every year is just, in my opinion, a horrible idea, and it's something that we don't really, as parents, I can take it, is not something that you look forward
to. This is going to be really simple for me. It's just plan, plan, plan. You don't start your planning process the year your school is going to open. You need to be planning now, this year. We need to be looking at our data, looking at our student to teacher population, look at our numbers, the number of constituents we have in our district, look at the number of students that can be accommodated in our school. The departments need to be working closely together on an ongoing basis, on a consistent basis. Sometimes there's just a lack of communication. We have to improve our communication, and we have to hire competent people. I don't mean to offend anybody, but a lot of times we hire staff that do not have the wherewithal or the knowledge or the skill set to be able to deliver the service, to make good on the job. We're hiring people because they're our neighbor, they're our friend, they're our church member. We have to hire the experts. I want to ensure, and I'm going to ensure, that we are hiring experts, the one that is fit for the job, suited for the job, to do the job. So we need to be planning far in advance, not the year the school is scheduled to open. There needs to be proper assessments. We can't afford to allow these schools to continue to be overcrowded and bringing in these trailers on our campuses. It's unacceptable. It's truly unacceptable. I'm very passionate about this. I hear it everywhere that I go, when I'm in the community. Our parents and our teachers are very angered by this. So we have to do a better job at planning prior to implementation. And I'm going to see to it that that gets done. Thank you.
We'd like to give our Board of Supervisor candidates the opportunity to follow up on that question. As the Magnolia Green School looks to open in the next several years, how do we interrupt the trend of new school, now it's full, wait a couple of years, rinse and repeat?
I think, as was already stated, redistricting may have to be an option. Also, being proactive versus reactive. We already know what's coming, so plans should already be in place. And these plans should be just data-driven. You know, have the experts come in, you know, give input, give feedback. Just be better prepared, but also provide better balance. And we're at a point where we're able to provide that when we don't have to always play catch-up, so why not take advantage of that? So the redistricting, being proactive versus always being reactive, and really relying on data.
If anybody went to or watched the Board of Supervisors meeting that took place, not the last month, you would have seen a presentation that Alan Carmody did on data-driven decisions for the future of Chesterfield County. They are working on a new comprehensive software program with Microsoft that will take into consideration a whole new litany of matrix when determining data in Chesterfield County. We're going to look at birth rates, we're going to look at home sales, we're going to look at projected sales of houses within developments. So yeah, there's going to be a much better data center for us to make these decisions in the future. And it's in its infancy stages right now, but the presentation that they showed the other night at the Board of Supervisors meeting is very impressive. And if it works, we will have a better way of knowing when, for example, you sell your house here and move somewhere else, and another family moves in and they have 3 kids that are going to attend the schools. Now, as far as Mag Green goes, we're still in the development stages. So now that we're going to have this new tool, we should be able to look at those numbers and not just, you remember now, there's 6,000 more houses slated to be built out here. This community here in Harper's Mill, if you look at that, that's 2,000 houses that are slated, and it's only a quarter of the way through. So the 6,000 houses, that'll all be worked into that matrix, and not forgetting the 2 brand new apartment complexes they just approved across the street. We're going to have a bunch of data to look at, and if we have to build a bigger school, build a bigger school. And I want to make sure there's room in that school. If we need to do expansion and we have to put another building on it later on down the road, then we put a building on a trailer. And if we don't need it later, then guess what? I'm pretty sure the community will find a use for that building. So we need to make sure that we plan for the future, and I think we've got a good plan coming that's going to help us with all this data to be much more efficient than we've been. And that's the problem that we have. We haven't been as efficient. Look at this school here. From the entrance standpoint, you come in one way out with all the buses. I came in the other day, there was 75 cars, people lined up trying to come in and get their kids. The traffic pattern here is terrible. We have to do better, and we're going to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, which I want to thank everybody for their time and their patience, I would like to ask everybody a question. It is not on your paper, but this is just an open forum for questions at this point. My question is this: we have done business as usual for so long. I don't think we know how to work outside of the box. As a county citizen, how do you plan to create more inclusive situations within our community and our school? Tolerance for people to not be feeling inclusive or included, like their voice doesn't matter. The teachers here and at other Chesterfield County schools, they do a great job with trying to create that environment. But I believe it needs to be in our school board and on our delegate level. How will you try to make that change?
So you're right, teachers do great. Inclusion in classrooms is something that takes place all the time. Everyone is valuable. And when we're talking about inclusion into different schools and we're talking about inclusion in the community, it means we need to have everyone involved, and we need to let everyone know that their opinions, their values, okay, that there's something that we all believe in, and there's something that we all respect. I was actually just looking earlier at the school bus forum that's on Facebook for Save the Bus Drivers. And the bus drivers are actually one class of the schools that, is really underappreciated. They really are. And they take our children to and from school safely every day. They may be late sometimes. They may miss the stop sometimes, but ultimately we trust our children with them for the most part. And they talked about inclusion on different things. And I just think we have not all had our opinions valued. And that is a reality of today. So I think that being open on the school board and with the Board of Supervisors and allowing everyone to have input on things. All these decisions we talked about tonight, about starting the school year before Labor Day, change of school start times, those are all things that we need community input on. We need to have everyone's opinion on it before we make a decision. It may not be something necessarily that I like, but if the majority of people would rather have something, then the majority of people are going to get it. And that's just what I will strive for while I'm on the school board, is to make sure that all our processes are more inclusive for everyone, and that that we're all able to see them, that they're transparent, and everybody has an opportunity and everybody feels valued.
That's what I do.
He's absolutely right. It's all about communication. It's about effective communication. Two-way. And so it's about listening. It doesn't matter what I think. I want to serve you. What matters is what you think. I spoke last year against the planning case that they were doing off of Woolworth Road because the people from the community came to me and said, hey, we don't want this, we don't like it. Can you help us out? And I looked at it and I said, you know what, I agree with you, I don't like it either. And I spoke against the board of supervisors and the planning commission on that. Took a lot of heat for it. It's the right thing to do. Because I listened to the people. There's a solar farm down at Epps Falls Road. The people down there don't want it either. The county's going to push that through. But if you listen to the people down there, they don't want it for their own reasons. Chesapeake County is a great community. It's a big community. Matoaca itself is very big. But the neighborhoods are where you live. If you live in Mag Green, those are your people. If you live in Hampton Park, those are your people. If you live in Harvard, those are your people. You live in Ettrick, those are your people. And as a leader, you have to get the input of those people and find out what's important to them. That's why you want to do this job in the first place. I'm not doing it for me. I have a pension. I could retire. I don't have to do this at all. But I have a passion for people and solving people's problems. That's what I've been able to do for Chesapeake County for the last 32 years. That's what I want to continue to do for you. It's all about communication. It's about listening and being compassionate about it, not just saying, oh, yeah, I hear you. And there's a difference. And that's what I'm going to do for you.
How I will be able to assist in making our teachers, our parents, our community feel as though they are a part or inclusive in this whole process. I'm like you. I don't see myself up here, you down here. I've been in a position where I felt as though my voice was not being heard. So when somebody can actually relate to you, I think being able to relate to people on their level is an asset. I've gone through a lot of experiences I'm quite sure that I share with many of you. So being able to relate to you on your level, sharing some of the same experiences, difficulties, that makes me viable to the whole working dynamics, me working with you, you working with me. I feel as though I always say, you can agree to, but you don't have to be disagreeable. People are not going to always agree with you. But as a leader, we chose to do this. So we may have individuals like yourselves coming out to the board meetings and being very vocal. I've been that person, but I'm going to respect you. But I'm also going to be concerned enough to meet with you or have you to send me an email and acknowledge what your concern and your complaint is. Again, we can agree to disagree, but I think there has to be a level of respect with our constituents. We have to value each and every one of you because you have tax dollars that are invested in this county. And I value you as well. Thank you.
I agree with a lot of everything that everyone else has said. The only thing that I will add to that is collaboration. Collaboration is key when you're working with different organizations, when you're working with different people. But you have to know how to collaborate. One good example, when I'm doing my cases and working with the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, we have a job to do. I'm going to represent my client, they're going to represent their client. But at the end of the day, we shake hands, that case is over. It's not personal. And so when you keep the main issue, you keep the emotion out, you keep the personal feelings out, whether you're affiliated with this party or not, you just do the right thing and aspire to do that and work together to do that. And don't lose focus off of that. Sometimes egos and selfish ambitions get in the way, but just keep reminded, as this position, you are an elected official. You serve the people. So you owe them the opportunity to listen to what they have to say, but not just listen, act upon it. And even if there is a decision that is rendered that is not favorable, give an explanation, but don't make it confrontational, because ultimately, we're all from the Matoaca district. Ultimately, greater on the board with all of Chesterfield County. So definitely we should have the same goal. We should want Chesterfield to thrive, want all our children to have the same resources, the same opportunities. And there are certain areas in the Matoaca district where they don't. There are certain disparities within the southern part and in the western part. And that shouldn't be something that we should shy away from because it may make us uncomfortable. Let's just come up with a solution and get to work.
We really appreciate your all's time tonight. We'd like to take a minute or two so that each of you can give us a quick summary, wrap up, and then I'll close this down. Okay? First order. Okay.
Quick summary. So once again, very passionate about working with people. That's why I'm in the law field. That's why I have my master's in social work. I always wanted to help others. And I just strive to do the right thing, whether it's popular, whether it's unpopular. I'm going to stand for what's right. And just really a people person. I have a heart for people. No selfish ambitions. You know, I could be doing something else, but I choose to serve, and I choose to use the experiences that I've had and the relationships that I have formed over the 18 years where I have been practicing. And it's not just for that. I am from here. My children go here. So of course I'm invested, but not just for myself. The way that I was raised, the two best parents in the back, always looking out for others, not just our family, but for our neighbors. And the way I was raised, my neighbors, anyone who's in need. And so that's why I'm running, to do the right thing and just to make a better difference, a greater impact, and to move forward. Thank you.
In closing, I want to thank everybody for having myself and all of the other candidates out tonight. But in closing, I would like to say that I am a woman of integrity. I'm a woman who has moral values. And I think that is something that is diminishing today. You will be able to have someone that will not embarrass you, that will not antagonize you, but will value you. I believe in access, accountability, and transparency. And I stand on that. I'm not up here to give you some political jargon, because we hear enough of that. You need to hear from somebody that's what they can do for you. I believe in investing in my community. I value my parents, my neighbors, church members, everyone, and our children. I have spent tireless amounts of time and energy in building our children, our community, throughout working with different organizations. I just got sworn in a couple of months ago to be a Richmond CASA advocate, so I can continue to fight for abused children in the judicial system. So it doesn't stop here. If I'm elected, I'll be able to continue the work on a larger level. If not, I will continue to do the work. Thank you so much tonight for, again, having me out. And I look forward to meeting with some of you at the end. And let's get the job done. Let's go to work. It's a new time for a new, fresh start. Time for a change. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for coming out tonight. As I said earlier, there are many other things you could be doing, so it's very important for us that we have an opportunity to get to you. I am a passionate person. That's why I love being a police officer in Chester County for 32 years. I love helping people. I was a volunteer fireman before I did this when I was a younger man. And no, I'm not originally from here, but I made a conscious decision to move here and stay here. I love Chesterfield. It is, I actually have lived here a lot longer than I lived in Rhode Island. I do believe in collaboration and working together. I pledge that I will work together with whoever gets elected to the board of supervisors, no matter what party they're from, to try to find solutions for Chesterfield County. It's not about partisan politics. We see enough of that in Washington, D.C., so much that we want to just change the channel every day. I will work with the board, with the school board, to make sure we find the solutions for the schools, because it's all part of our community. It's our community. It's your community, my community. It's all of us together. And oh yeah, thanks for pointing out CASA. We've supported CASA for years too. For about the last 10 years, we've made donations to CASA. The Court Appointed Special Advocacy Program. It's a great program. We need to make sure we continue to work with them on that. I'd be honored to have you vote on November the 5th. If you consider voting for me, I would be greatly appreciative of that. And you will always be able to reach out to me, talk to me. I'll come to your house, wherever you want. Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you, just like everyone else. I'd like to thank all the candidates also for being here and for all of us to have this respectable forum where we're able to give has answers. And true, we see things a little bit differently sometimes from different parties, but we're all here because we want to make a positive difference. When I was in the Air Force, our motto was integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And that's something that stuck with me for the last 20 years, is that everything that I do, I won't do it unless I know that I'm going to give 110%. Unless I know that I'm going to do it to the best of my integrity, and I won't make excuses. This is a great community. Our schools are great, but they could be better. And I'm going to work with whoever is elected, with whatever board, with whatever legislator I have to improve our quality of life for parents, teachers, and students. Afterwards, if anyone would like to stop and talk or ask any other questions, please feel free to do so. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you all so very much for coming and taking time to answer our questions. Thank you all for coming and listening. We're going to go ahead and wrap up in the building so that our team can get home at some time tonight. If you have any questions for the candidates individually, we've got a nice open space right here on the other side of the front doors, where I'm sure they'll be happy to hang out and talk to you all. Okay? Thank you all very much.